On HTV, the last in the present series of A Slice of Life.
Okay.
Roger Hall's boat repair workshop in Penarth is typical of many that once flourished around the muddy waters of Tiger Bay, when Cardiff had one of the busiest ports in the world. Today, the small working craft have nearly disappeared, but some, like this one, find their way to St Fagans Boat Museum. This is a story about a boat builder and mariner with a difference, for Roger Hall is blind.
I started restoring boats and, as a business in about 1984. I took on a premises and actually got going. I wrote off to, well, search for jobs really. I wrote off to different television companies, looking for any scenery work, anything to do with timber, what I enjoyed most of all. I wrote to some Fagans and I told them what my hobbies were. And seeing if there was any places out there for work on, well, boats or carts or anything at all, really. And they were the only ones that answered my letter. It's a bit of a difficult sell to say that you're blind and that you want to go doing woodwork. So they said that if I was to take evidence out there or proof of what sort of work I had been doing, that they did have a couple of boats there that we needed to have restored, but they couldn't offer me full-time employment.
But St Fagans was pleased with the result, and since that time Roger has restored a number of boats for the Welsh Folk Museum. Now they are displayed in the grounds of St Fagans Castle for all to see.
Here we have Compass Netling boat from Langham in West Wales. This is a boat that was built in 1880, and it was my first job for the museum. It was in a pretty terrible state, to be quite honest. I think it was more or less given to me a bit of a challenge. She was covered in thick pitch which had blistered all over and was literally half an inch or so thick. It looked like it was covered in nothing. And I think I spent best part of a month just cleaning off the pitch just to see what we had underneath it. So here we have the Curragh. This was the second job I did for the museum, and in fact the reason I started the company. I did this for them initially in 1984 and renewed quite a lot of the structure on it from the risings, which is about a foot from the gunnel. I renewed a lot of the top woodwork on it. It's quite interesting. The idea was they were built light to carry up the beaches and used in Ireland mainly. on the coracle principle, only this is 20 foot long. Quite a fast boat to row, very light, 2 of you in fact to pick it up. So crude, but so efficient.
The seaside town of Penarth boasts one of the oldest yacht clubs in Wales. It has a flourishing and active membership, supporting anything vaguely nautical. Once a year, oilskins are banished, with club members who volunteered and some who've been press gangs forsake the deck to tread the boards as entertainers.
The thunder rolled around as we put Grandma in the ground. In the village church beside her cousin Jed. We laid her there to rest, as it was the last request. But most of all, his Grandma was dead. Then lightning struck the peg of Grandpa's iron leg, as he leaned on the arm of Cousin Rose, who was holding hands with Sid and their 7 lovely kids. And all they found was the guide dog puppy's nose. People think I've got a strange sense of humour, but I look at it along the lines of if anybody can have a laugh at my expense, then that's wonderful. I get a real buzz out of it. I make jokes about blind people. Well, I'm in a position to be able to do that, really, and nobody can really criticise it. And it doesn't bother me in the least. I was praying to the Lord, feeling hungry, lonesome and flawed. People think I'm a little strange, perhaps this walk, but I don't care. As long as everybody has a smile out of it, at the end of the day, that makes it all worthwhile. I got you down for New Year's Day. Cheer up, it's Christmas, gonna be real cheap.
Roger lived with his wife Fiona and their 3-year-old son Tristan in the town of Penarth. Fiona works at Cardiff Royal Infirmary as a physiotherapist, specialising in therapy for haemophiliacs, and she too is partially sighted. Roger had all his sight when he was a small child, but it began to fail when he was just a little younger than Tristan is now.
Just before school days, when I was subjected to all sorts of tests and things, eye tests, which my mother had to take me to St David's Hospital, and she was really quite upset about having to take me, but I can remember all the various antiquated setups that they have. Can you see this white spot and moving a wooden framework round in a big arc and moving a pointer along it, trying to draw some form of graph as to what you could see and what you couldn't. I think we noticed, I seem to recall Mother saying that she noticed I was holding toys close to myself, very close to the face to wind them up and things like that. That's when they decided to get some tests done. And it was confirmed then that there's nothing that could be done about it. It still is the case now. Various conflicting theories as to what had caused it at the time. But I've got a problem called retinocytic pigmentosa, which can affect the ears. There's various theories. I think now that the theory is that it is a hereditary problem, although in fact there is no record of it in our family that we're aware of. I think Tristan's got quite a good idea that I don't see too well. And as much as what he will do is say, come and see this, Daddy, and he'll literally put it in my hand. Fiona can see enough to get by, and we managed to get round town and go to London if we have to boat show or whatever, and she can see enough to get us both by on that one. But as far as the house is concerned, we just carry on as normal. We tend to take it in our stride, and don't even think about it, you know. Young Chris will try it on and perhaps try and hide, but he's got to get up pretty early in the morning to catch me out.
It's 7 a.m. on a cool autumn morning, and here at Southampton, the yacht Sean 2 is preparing to leave for a trip along the English Channel, and, weather permitting, across to France. The crew of 6 includes 2 other visually handicapped sailors who will be instructed by Roger.
It may seem strange that I've been sailing as an instructor for the Seamanship Foundation for probably 15 years now. It's something that I've always done, is sailing, and over the years you get to know your boat and also work on these boats. You tend to get very, very familiar with them, and it just comes as a natural thing to do. And I find that I can get around a boat probably as well as most people, you know, given a short time to familiarise myself with everything, and I love to share it with everybody else.
With each reef that actually runs through the centre of the boom, so that you've got the one line that comes from the boom up to the cringle of the sail.
What we tend to do with students is to spend probably half a day literally going over everything, taking them around, showing them which is which. And if there's any problem that they may have, for example, coding ropes or sail bags, or depending on whether the boat has a curling head, so, you know, all the different characteristics, then, you know, we can perhaps suggest different things that will help them, you know, take each problem as an individual.
No, Eb, got an handle. Yeah, Roger, the other handle. Right, you want to handle it? I guess you put it in when you want it. I'll put it down on the bar.
It just seems to be the natural thing to do, just to share my experience with those that can't see, and try and get over to them how much I get out of it, and what's available to them, what they're missing out on. In fact, you know, the exhilaration, the satisfaction, every aspect of it. It's just a wonderful thing to do.
Thousands of sailors of all ages, levels of experience and ability have benefited from the help given by the Seamanship Foundation. This was established in 1973 by the Royal Yachting Association to encourage access to the sport for those who are disadvantaged in some way. It enables them to benefit from all sorts of activities directly connected with sailing and the sea. The foundation organises training and provides special equipment so that handicapped people can sail on equal terms with their able-bodied friends. Last year, Roger and 5 others were chosen to take part in the first international blind sailing regatta. The event took place in New Zealand in early January and represented a landmark in the history of yachting. The Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron in Auckland played host to no fewer than 22 teams from around the world. Blind sailing was developed in New Zealand only 5 years ago. The Council for Sailing for Vision-Impaired Persons was set up, and the regatta was their idea.
We did very well. We got a gold medal in the B3, we had a fourth in the B2, and we had a silver medal in the B1, so we did very, very well.
Yachting is a very expensive pastime. Craft used during the Sailing for the Handicapped course, organised by the Seamanship Foundation, are lent by their owners free of charge. In many cases, the owner will come along as well to help out as part of the able-bodied section of the crew. Students are only expected to contribute towards their travel to the yacht and their keep whilst on board. Entertainment, like the instruction, is free. This particular yacht is the Sean 2. She's owned by Derek Fawcett, a long-time supporter of the scheme and designer of an impressive range of navigation aids for both sighted and visually impaired sailors.
So what about the webbing on there? Nothing there? Nothing there?
Nothing in big off now. No, it's
That's no guidance for you then. Am I your airspeed?
No, you're fine, yeah. I got a true breeze. I don't know what sort of course it's steering, but I think it's, what is the...
You're steering spot on, honestly, within a few degrees.
What is the wind angle?
Wind angle's about 30 degrees.
Oh, 30, yeah. Turning on your light bulb, light I never know. Turning on your light bulb, I'm on the dark side of the road. Well, I've been while I'm walking down the road. I was the child I was told. I gave her my heart. But she was my soul. Don't think twice, it's alright.
The crew returned to the plush saloon of the Chanteau, having spent the evening ashore at Leamington. There the local beer flowed, and the chicken tikka masala and poppadoms went down as treats.
Well,
The plan is to sail for France in the morning, but nothing can be finalised until the shipping forecast is broadcast at midnight. And what better way to wait for it than this?
well, I say repeatedly for the dawn never. I don't mind if you get tired of wasting my precious time. Don't think twice, it's alright.
Many years ago, when I was doing my little rebellious bit, I was very much into going for dogs, but my first dog was another collie called Andy, that I had, I think now, 15 years ago, and well, it just totally revolutionised my lifestyle. Getting about was so easy once I'd gone into a dog. Apart from having a room companion, Andy sails everywhere with me, the same as Meg does now. I'm not sure if he particularly likes it, but the training is as such that they put up with a tremendous amount and do it all perfection. Without the tip bits, as a lot of people tend to think, the dog, can I give her a bag of tricks? As much as I'd like to, you can't do that sort of thing. There's only one way to do the work, and that is the way the Guide Dog Association teaches you to do it. The slightest deviation from the Guide Dog Association way usually stems to a breakdown in the working one form or another, and then you've got to struggle hard to get it back. Meg's work is quite good, and as much as Meg has got what the association refers to as a left tendency, where she will tend to walk with all 4 feet on the curbstone and walk around every lamppost and tree and have to be very careful, or rubber harness against the wall. If it's not go to its extreme, you're constantly correcting her for this left tendency. At one time we were concerned that this is deteriorating to such an extent that she may have to retire. This was after I'd had her for about 6 months. But we did a lot of remedial work, a lot of correction work, and provided I keep up the correction work, and we changed her harness to a different style. Now it's all about enthusiasm and keeping on top of her, and she was really come up trumps, I'm so delighted. I was very concerned at one time that she'd have to retire.
Were it not for Meg's harness, this could be a typical family scene of any father returning home with his son and his dog. but Meg has the joint responsibility for the safe arrival of them all. Tristan has just spent a very happy day at nursery school. It's a rather different story from Roger's own experience of school at the time when his sight began to fade.
Well, I can honestly say that school, looking back on it, was a nightmare. They say that schooling is the best day of your life. Personally, I think that it was absolutely awful. It would never happen in this day and age. I managed to get my 5.0 level. It was a real nightmare. Teachers can be extremely cruel, and comments like, you know, all you get your nose any closer to that paper, you'll be wearing a nose ray, and things like this, you know, reports that said physically unfit, and that sort of thing. It's to a child, really, were very, very unkind.
Early evening is the time the family spends together, relaxing and playing games. Roger does his fair share of the household chores, though like many men, he prefers to leave the cooking to Fiona. With supper over, a reluctant boy must go to bed.
Wash your hands.
Gertrude, put her in your orchard, land with it. Ed, you went away. He went back into the house for some tea. When he came out, there was Gertrude in the orchard with all the apples, and he'd been trying to eat all of the raspberries, and he got so tangled up with all of the nectar that he couldn't move. It was wrapped round and round and round him, and he couldn't move. Gertrude did a really good job in the end. And Gertrude and Mr. Beckett, they lived happily ever after. But that's the past. Yes, I did. Good luck to you. See you in the morning.
This is a little song about a bantam top. Quite a notorious fellow. It goes something like this. What a noble brute, what a champion cock, what a way to live and to die. I'm sticking him a grave to save his bones from the hungry buzz in the sky. And the bantam opened up its wide little eyes. He gave me a grin and a terrible wink, the way that rapists do. He said, see those big dark buggers up there? They'll be down in a minute or two. They'll be down in a minute or two.
I'm a firm believer in Sod's law. I believe that if things are going to go wrong, they will go wrong. Don't take anything for granted. Well, one thing that I want to do, and I feel that it's within my grasp, things are generally pointed in the direction where I should do it. And that is to build a fairly large boat, as big a boat as I possibly can, in my workshop. All other circumstances are pointing me in that direction. I just feel that it's something that being a bonnet has got to do.